In this video, we're going to talk about how to find an equation of a circle. So we're going to do an example, but first I want to talk about the standard form of an equation of a circle. So I drew here a circle on a coordinate plane, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and zoom into that circle so we can look at it a little closer. Okay, so this is your y-axis up here, and this is your x-axis down here. So the center of a circle, it can be any point. So for generality's sake, let me call this h comma k. So h and k, it's just any number. So for this particular circle, it might be, this is 2 and 1, 2. H comma k might be 2 comma 2, right? Okay, and then I have another point. The point is just anywhere on the circle, so I just put it there. And it could be anything, so I'm just going to write it as x comma y. And then there's the radius of the circle, so that's going to be r. Okay, so the equation of a circle is it's really easy to derive yourself, so you don't actually need to memorize it. Once you see it, though, you might memorize it, and if you use it multiple times, you're definitely going to have it memorized. But if you know Pythagorean Theorem, it's really easy to kind of derive it yourself. So if you look here, and so first off, this distance here, I'm going to mark it in blue, would be the distance of x. So this distance, this total distance, this red and the blue that I've drawn, would be however much x is, right? Because this goes down to x. So that distance would be however much x is, but if the distance of just the blue area would be x minus h, right? Because the distance of the red area is basically h. So this little spot right here is x minus h. Okay, and then I have on the other side here this height, okay, this height here. So this height to get to this point and then stopping there is k, right? And then to get a little further, this goes all the way up to y. So this distance would be, oops, let me write it in black. This distance would be y minus k. Okay, so now I have a triangle, and the sides of the triangle are, this side is x minus h, this side is y minus k, and this side is r. So x minus h, y minus k, then r. Okay, so remember Pythagorean Theorem says, you take the sides and you square them, for a right triangle, which this is a right triangle. Okay, and you square them, and then that equals the hypotenuse squared, right? There you go. That's the standard form of an equation of a circle. So now let's use that to do an example. Okay, so find the standard form for the equation of the circle with center 3 and 4 and passes through negative 3 and 4 and passes through the point 1, 2. So I'm gonna draw this. You don't actually need to draw it to solve it, but I'm gonna go ahead and draw this as well. So we have the center, it's negative 3, 1, 2, 3. So here's negative 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's 4. Here's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2. Okay, and so the center is here, and then it passes through the point 1. So x is 1, and then y is 2. So it passes through this point here. Okay, so if I were to draw this circle, there it is. Okay. One thing that we don't know, that's not given to us, is the radius, right? But we know that if you were to take x minus, well, for generality, I'll go ahead and write the standard form that I just had on the previous slide. So I had x minus h plus y minus k squared equals r. Okay, so if I write x minus h in this case, so the center of the circle is h and k. So h in this case is -3. Okay, and then y minus k is 4. Okay, equals r. Okay, so I don't know, oh, not r, but r squared, sorry. Okay, so I don't know what r squared is. So in order to solve for r squared, I'm going to go ahead and plug in the one point that I do know, and then I'll be able to find what r squared is. So I'm going to plug in 1 for x. So this is negative and negative, it makes a positive. And then I'm going to plug in 2 for y, because that's the point that I know. 1, 2. Okay, so then I'll have 4 squared plus -2 squared equals r squared. So 4 squared is 16. -2 squared is 4, r squared. So 20 equals r squared. Okay, so, if we were to solve this, if we were to find the standard form of an equation, we don't actually need to solve for r. Just knowing r squared is good enough. Okay, so I mean, if we wanted to know what r was, it would be the square root of 20. And you don't have to say plus or minus the square root, because the radius can never be negative. The radius is always going to be positive. Okay, but just stopping there would have been sufficient in order to answer the question. So now I can write the standard form of the equation. So I'll have x minus, and a minus makes plus. So x plus 3 squared times y, or not times, but plus y minus 4 squared equals 20. Okay, and that is the standard form of the equation of the circle.